Hey guys, welcome. Today we'll be talking about output parsers in LangChain. Now this is our pipeline. We have learned all these components. Now we have this final output. Let's understand how to parse this output into our required format. So output parser in LangChain are crucial components that take the raw string output from a large language model and transform it into a more structured and usable format. For example, this is the raw output from our model, and we use output parsers to transform this kind of text into this. So you can see this is the content. You can see hello there. So we want the content from here. We don't want all this metadata. Hence, using output parser, we can convert this into this. Similarly, this into this format. Now, why do we need output parsers? Now, if you ask the question, why do we need output parser? With output parsers, we have structured data extraction, we have data validation, we have improved reliability, we have enhanced user experience. We can easily integrate within a chain. We can design the output parser in such a way that it will output in this format. Also, it should validate that this variable should be a string, this rating should be a float. In this way, we are creating both schema and we are doing the data validation. Now the chain integration thing. Here, if you take this example, this is our first prompt template. We are passing that to a model. We are getting the output from this model, and using this output parser, we are converting the output of this model into a particular format that we'll be using in template 2. Then we are using that value in model, and then after getting the output from this model, we are using output parser again, and finally we are having the final output for this chain. In this way, we can easily integrate into chain. So these are the benefits of using output parser. Now here we'll be studying string output parser, list output parser, JSON output parser, structured output parser, PydanticOutputParser, and custom output parser. So string output parser. This output parser returns the raw string output from the LLM. That means if this is the output we are getting from the model, it is taking the content you can see here, and it is providing that in a string format. Now let's see this string output parser in action. So here you can see this is our string output parser, this is our model, and this is our prompt. You can see here, and then this is our chain. So this is without any parser, and this is with the parser. Now let's run this and see the output. So you can see without the parser, this is the output we are getting from this chain, and when we use the parser, this is the output we are getting. So you can see this is a clean string. Now this is how string output parser works. Now next one is list output parser. This parser is used when you expect the LLM to output a list of items. This list of items often comma separated or new line separated. So this is the output of a model. Using this parser, we are getting a list of item. So here we have this list parser. You can see comma separated list parser, and then we are using that list parser in our chain. You can see here. Let's run this. So you can see here, this is before the parser, and this is the output we are getting, and this is after parser. You can see this is the output we are getting. So another thing you can see here is like before the parser, this is the prompt we are sending to our model. So you can see this is list 5 popular category items. So for category we have introduced programming languages. So our prompt is simple. This is list 5 popular programming languages items. So this is the prompt when we don't have the parser in our pipeline, and this is the prompt we are sending to our model. But when we have the parser in our pipeline, the prompt modified like this. So here we are sending list 5 popular programming languages item, and with that we are sending this extra information also. Your response should be a list of comma separated values. So this is one example. So this is how our model knows how to convert the output in a particular format, and this is how we are getting the output in a list format. Next one, we have JSON output parser. So here this is the free flow text from our model, and we are converting this information into a JSON format. You can see here. This is because after converting into a JSON format, we can use this JSON object. We can integrate this directly into apps, directly into APIs, directly into databases. So let's see this in action. Now here we have JSON output parser. So we are importing the JSON output parser here. You can see now this is the prompt. This is without any parser, and then here we are inserting the JSON output parser. We are using that here. We are getting the format instruction, and then we are using that information in our prompt, and then we are using the JSON output parser here. Now let's run this thing. So when we run this, you can see, so this is the output without JSON output parser. Now after using the JSON output parser, we are getting output like this. You can see this is a JSON format, and we can easily access each component from this JSON object. You can see. So by using get function, we can easily access each item from the JSON object. The issue with JSON output parser is that here we cannot enforce any schema. That means this is the output of the model, and using JSON output parser, we have this is as the output. So you can see this is like movie title is matrix, key themes. Within that we have a list of dictionaries, and for each dictionary we have theme and description keys, and for each of these keys we have values. But what if we want the JSON output to be like this? So movie title, then theme 1, description, theme 2, description. We cannot enforce any schema in JSON output parser. The output solely depend on the model. So to deal with this kind of issue, to enforce a schema, we have something called structured output parser. So with structured output parser, we can enforce a particular schema that we want. Let's see this in action. So here we have structured output parser. First, this is we are importing structured output parser and response schema. Then you can see this is before the structured output parser, and then here we are defining the schema. So we want the output having keys like product name, price, category, rating, and feature. And then here we are integrating this schema into our structured output parser, and then we are getting the format instruction from this parser, and we are using that here in our prompt template, and then finally we are using the parser here. So this is how we use structured output parser. Now let's run this code. So here you can see without the parser, this is the output, and this is the response schema we defined here, and after parser this is the output. You can see here, and we can access each item just like we are accessing in case of JSON output parser. You can see, so we can access each item using get function. But here, if we focus here, so this is the original prompt before the parser. So if we go here, you can see this is the original prompt. So before parser, original prompt is smartphone, create a product description for a product type. So a product type, we are sending smartphone here. Now this is without the parser, and after the parser, this prompt is modified into this. So create a prompt description for smartphone. With that, this extra information is added to the prompt, and this is how the model understood that we are using structured output parser. Now let's see how structured output parser solve the issue that we have in case of JSON output parser. So here you can see we have JSON output parser here. Now you can see here JSON output parser. Now here we have structured output parser, and if we run this code, you can see here this is after JSON output parser. So if you can see, for we have a key that is key themes, and for this key we have a list of dictionaries, and within each dictionary we have theme, we have description. So we have separate theme and description for each dictionary within key themes. And using structured output parser, you can see this is the output, movie title, the matrix, theme 1, theme 2, theme 3, and for each theme we have a separate description. So this is the schema we enforce using structured output parser. You can see, so according to this we are getting our result. You can see this is how we are able to enforce the schema which we were unable to do in case of JSON output parser. Now the issue with structured output parser is we can enforce the schema, but we cannot validate the data type. For example, this is the output we are getting from the structured output parser. So here all values, movie equal inception, so this is a string, release year 2010, this is also a string, and rating 8.8, this is also a string. But we want this to be an integer and this to be a float. This validation we cannot do in case of structured output parser, and we can solve this issue by using PydanticOutputParser. So PydanticOutputParser strictly validates and parses the LLM output into a Python object defined by a Pydantic base model, and this provides a robust type checking and data validation. So let's see that. Here we have PydanticOutputParser. We are importing PydanticOutputParser. We are importing base model. You can see. So this is how we want our output to be. We want the output to contain name, which is a string, age, which is an integer, occupation, which is a string, and skill, this is a list. So here we are defining our output schema and data type, and then here we are this is like without any parser. Now here we are enforcing that schema. We are using that schema in our PydanticOutputParser. Then we are getting the format instruction, and we are using that instruction here in the template, and then we are using the parser here. And if we run this Python 5, so this is the output without any parser. You can see this is a simple prompt that we are using here, and after using this Pydantic output parser, our prompt becomes this. You can see extra information we added, so that the model will know that this is a this schema is enforced by a PydanticOutputParser, and then this is the output we are getting from our model. You can see. So in this way we can able to enforce both schema and data type. Now let's see how PydanticOutputParser solve the issue that we have in case of structured output parser. That is how it is able to enforce the schema. So here we are using both. So here we are using normal chain without any parser. Then here we are using the structured output parser, and then here we are using the PydanticOutputParser. So this is the schema that we are using in case of structured output parser, and this is the schema and the data type we are using in case of PydanticOutputParser. Now let's run this. So you can see this is without any parser. This is with structured output parser. You can see this is a string, this is a string, everything is a string here. With PydanticOutputParser, you can see this is an integer, this is a float, and this is the string. So you can see this is how we are able to solve the issue of data validation in case of structured output parser. Now the next output parser is custom output parser. So in this way we can design our custom output parser. So here we have our custom output parser. We are using the base output parser class. Here we are inheriting from this class, and here our custom output parser is simply making the text, converting the text from lowercase to uppercase. You can see, and we are using that custom output parser like this. Now let's run this thing. So when we run this thing, you can see this is without any parser, and this is after the parser, after using this custom output parser. You can see here. So guys, I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.